What if I told you that everything you've been taught about success, happiness, and getting what you want is backwards? You've been grinding, pushing, forcing, trying to make things happen through sheer willpower. And it's exhausting, right? Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to admit. While you're out there chasing opportunities, the people who seem to have life working effortlessly for them aren't doing more. They're vibrating differently. Yeah, I know how that sounds. It sounds like some mystical nonsense you'd hear from someone selling crystals at a farmer's market. But stick with me for the next few minutes, because what you're about to discover isn't wishful thinking or spiritual bypassing. It's the intersection of neuroscience, psychology, and energy mechanics that explains why some people attract success like a magnet, while others repel it without even knowing it. You're not broken, you're not unlucky, and you're not missing some secret formula. You're just broadcasting the wrong frequency, and once you learn to adjust that signal, your entire reality reorganizes itself around you. Sound too good to be true? Good. That means you're paying attention. Let's crack this thing wide open. Here's something most people don't realize. You're not just walking through life, you're broadcasting through it. Think of yourself as a radio transmitter, constantly sending out a frequency that the world around you picks up and responds to. Your emotional state isn't just something happening inside your head. It's an invisible signal that shapes every interaction, every coincidence, and every opportunity that shows up in your path. When you're vibrating at the frequency of frustration, guess what? The universe seems to serve you more things to be frustrated about. It's not magic, it's physics meeting psychology, and once you understand this transmission principle, you'll never look at a bad day the same way again. Let me get real with you for a second. There were days when he'd wake up already irritated, maybe from a bad dream, or just waking up on the wrong side of the bed, and suddenly everything went sideways. Traffic lights would turn red right as he approached, colleagues would be snippy for no reason, and even his coffee order would come out wrong. At first it seemed like the world was conspiring against him, but then he noticed the pattern. His internal state was like a tuning fork, and reality was humming back the same note. The moment he shifted his frequency, even just 10%, doors that seemed jammed would suddenly swing open. People became friendlier, solutions appeared out of nowhere, and that parking spot right in front? Yeah, it was waiting for him. Now let's do something together real quick, takes just 30 seconds. Stop for a moment and name your current state in one word. Are you anxious, calm, hopeful, tired? Got it? Now rate that state on a scale from 0 to 10, where 0 is, I feel terrible, and 10 is, I'm absolutely thriving. Don't overthink it, just go with your gut. This simple awareness check is the first step in adjusting your frequency. Because you can't change a transmission you don't even know you're sending. Most people spend their entire lives reacting to whatever frequency they happen to be stuck on, never realizing they've got full control over the dial. But here's the thing. Once you start paying attention to your broadcast, you'll begin to notice how the world responds differently when you consciously shift the signal you're sending out. Imagine you're standing in a completely dark room holding a flashlight. Wherever you point that beam, that's what becomes real to you in that moment. The couch appears, the bookshelf materializes, the doorway emerges from the darkness. But here's the kicker. Everything else in the room is still there. You're just not seeing it because your light isn't shining on it. Your attention works exactly the same way. It's a spotlight that illuminates certain parts of your reality while leaving others in the shadows. And whatever you focus on doesn't just seem bigger. It actually becomes more influential in your experience. When you're tuned into problems, your brain becomes a problem-detecting machine, filtering out solutions that are literally sitting right in front of you. This isn't positive thinking fluff. It's how your reticular activating system works. And understanding this changes everything about how you navigate your day. Let's test this right now with a quick experience. Stop reading for a moment and list 3 things, just 3, that are already going right in your life today. Maybe you woke up in a comfortable bed, maybe someone smiled at you, maybe your body is healthy enough to read these words. Really think about it and let those 3 things land in your awareness. Notice what happens in your chest, your shoulders, your breathing. Feel that subtle shift? That's not imagination. That's your nervous system responding to where you aimed your spotlight. Most people spend 90% of their mental energy pointing their flashlight at what's broken, what's missing, what's threatening, and then they wonder why life feels so heavy. But when you deliberately redirect that beam toward what's working, even if it's small stuff, your entire physiology changes, and suddenly your brain starts spotting opportunities it was filtering out just moments before. Here's where it gets really interesting, and this is the bridge to understanding vibrational frequency on a deeper level. Your vibration doesn't magically create things out of thin air like some cosmic vending machine. That's where a lot of manifestation talk goes off the rails. Instead, your frequency acts as a selective amplifier, highlighting and magnetizing what already exists in your environment, but sits outside your current awareness. When you're vibrating at the frequency of gratitude, you start noticing more things to be grateful for that were always there. When you're stuck in scarcity mode, you'll filter out abundance even when it's staring you in the face. The world isn't changing, your filter is changing, and that filter determines which version of reality you get to experience and interact with. You brush your teeth every day, right? You shower, you clean your space, you maintain your car, but what about your emotional state? Most people treat their inner world like a junk drawer that never gets organized, letting stress, resentment, and mental clutter pile up until they're operating from a frequency so dense it's like trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of rocks. Emotional hygiene isn't some luxury spa day concept, it's basic maintenance that determines whether you're broadcasting a clear signal or static-filled noise. Just like physical dirt accumulates throughout the day, emotional residue builds up from every interaction, every piece of news you consume, every thought loop you run. And if you don't have a daily practice to clear that residue, it hardens into your baseline frequency, making it nearly impossible to vibrate at the level where your life actually transforms. Here's a simple 3-step routine that takes 5 minutes total and recalibrates your entire energetic system. First, breathe. Really breathe. For 1 to 2 minutes using the box breathing technique. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, repeat. This isn't woo-woo stuff. You're literally activating your parasympathetic nervous system and hitting the reset button on your stress response. Second, discharge what's heavy by grabbing a piece of paper and writing just 3 lines about whatever's weighing on you. Don't filter it, don't make it pretty, just get it out of your system and onto the page. Third, reprogram by choosing one phrase that generates genuine relief. Something like, "I'm figuring this out," or "I have what I need for today." And pair it with one small action you can take right now. Even if it's just tidying your desk or sending one email you've been avoiding. There was a turning point where everything shifted for him, and it came down to one sentence swap. He used to wake up with this crushing pressure thinking, "I need to resolve everything today or I'm falling behind." That frequency was pure panic, and it broadcasted chaos into every hour that followed. Then he tried something different. One good step today is enough. That's it. That simple reframe created enough space for his nervous system to downshift from emergency mode into productive flow. Within a week, he noticed he was getting more done, not because he was working harder, but because he wasn't bleeding energy into anxiety about the mountain ahead. When you practice emotional hygiene daily, even for just 5 minutes, you're not trying to become some enlightened guru who never feels anything negative. You're simply keeping your frequency clean enough that you can actually receive the opportunities, ideas, and connections that are trying to reach you. Your body isn't just along for the ride, it's the antenna that transmits and receives your vibrational frequency. Every emotion you experience has a physical signature, and most people are walking around completely unaware that their shoulders are up by their ears, their jaw is clenched like a vice, or their chest feels like it's wrapped in duct tape. That tension isn't random, it's your body broadcasting a frequency of defense, contraction, and survival mode. When you're locked up physically, you're literally narrowing the bandwidth of what you can perceive and attract. Think about it. Have you ever tried to solve a problem while your whole body is tight and your breathing is shallow? Your brain goes into tunnel vision, creativity shuts down, and suddenly every option feels threatening. But the moment you release that physical tension, it's like switching from dial-up to high-speed internet. Information flows, clarity returns, and solutions that were invisible 2 minutes ago suddenly seem obvious. Here's a protocol that takes 90 seconds and can completely shift your state when you feel yourself spiraling or stuck. First, move your body. Roll your shoulders back 10 times, gently rotate your neck side to side, shake out your hands like you're flinging water off them. You're not trying to win a flexibility contest. You're interrupting the physical pattern that's keeping you locked in a low frequency. Second, take 10 deep breaths directly into your rib cage, not your chest. Put your hands on the sides of your ribs and feel them expand laterally, like you're inflating a balloon inside your torso. This activates your diaphragm and sends a direct message to your nervous system that you're safe. Third, do a quick pectoral stretch. Clasp your hands behind your back, straighten your arms, and gently lift them while opening your chest forward. Hold it for 15 seconds and breathe. This one's huge because most people collapse forward all day, physically embodying defeat and protection without even realizing it. What you'll notice after this 90-second protocol is immediate. Mental clarity shoots up, your reactivity drops, and that foggy, overwhelmed feeling starts to lift. He's used this exact sequence before difficult conversations, after reading stressful emails, and even in the middle of traffic jams, and every single time, the shift is undeniable. Your body is constantly giving you feedback about the frequency you're operating on, but most people ignore the signals until they're at a breaking point. Tension in your jaw? That's unspoken frustration. Tightness in your chest? That's unexpressed emotion looking for a way out. When you treat your body like the sensitive antenna it is, and give it regular tune-ups throughout the day, you're not just feeling better physically, you're literally adjusting the signal you're sending into the world. And that signal determines what comes back to you. Here's a truth that might sting a little. You can do all the breath work, all the visualization, all the frequency work in the world, but if you're spending most of your time around people who are vibrating at fear, complaint, and drama, you're fighting an uphill battle you'll never win. Human beings are social antennas. We're wired to sync up with the emotional frequencies around us through mirror neurons and unconscious mimicry. It's why you can walk into a room and instantly feel the tension, or why spending an hour with a negative person leaves you feeling drained, like someone unplugged your battery. Your relationships aren't just nice-to-haves or background noise, they're active tuning forks that constantly pull your frequency up or drag it down. This doesn't mean you need to ghost everyone who's going through a rough patch, but it does mean you need to get ruthlessly honest about who's in your inner circle and how much access they have to your energy. Here's a practical rule that'll save your sanity. Aim for a minimum of 51% of your regular interactions with people who elevate you, inspire you, or at least meet you at a neutral frequency. That means more than half your social diet needs to be nourishing, not depleting. And for those relationships where you can't just walk away, family members, co-workers, people you're genuinely committed to, you need boundaries that protect your frequency without being cruel or dismissive. Try something like this. I hear you, and I want to support you, but I can't make this decision right now. Let's talk about it at 6 p.m. You're not shutting them down. You're creating a container so their emotional storm doesn't flood your entire day. One sentence like that can be the difference between staying centered and getting pulled into someone else's chaos for hours. Let's make this concrete with a 7-day experiment you can start today. Pick one person in your life, just one, who genuinely lifts your energy when you interact with them. For the next 7 days, have at least one conversation per day with that person, even if it's just a 5-minute phone call or a thoughtful text exchange. Notice how you feel afterward. Where's your energy on that 0 to 10 scale? Most people drastically underestimate how much their environment shapes their frequency, and they wonder why they can't seem to shift their vibration when they're marinating in low-frequency relationships 80% of the time. You're not being selfish by curating your social environment. You're being smart, because the people you surround yourself with aren't just company. They're co-creators of the frequency you broadcast, and that frequency is actively shaping the reality you experience every single day. Most people stumble through their day like a ship without a rudder, letting whatever emotional weather hits them determine where they end up by sunset. They wake up, check their phone, get hijacked by someone else's agenda, react to whatever comes at them, and then collapse into bed wondering why nothing ever changes. But here's what separates people who consistently vibrate at transformative frequencies from everyone else. They set their frequency intentionally before the day sets it for them. This isn't about making a to-do list or goal setting in the traditional sense. It's about consciously choosing the energetic state you want to operate from, the specific focus that matters most today, and the quality of presence you want to bring to your actions. When you claim your frequency first thing in the morning, you're essentially programming the filter through which you'll experience the next 16 hours. And that filter determines which opportunities you'll notice, which ideas you'll receive, and which version of yourself shows up in every situation. Here's a 1-minute template you can use twice a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon, to keep your frequency locked on target. First, name your state target. What energy do you want to embody today? Maybe it's calm but alert. Maybe it's playful and focused. Maybe it's grounded and open. Get specific with 1 or 2 words that capture the vibe. Second, identify your focus. What's the one thing that, if you accomplish it today, would make everything else easier or irrelevant? Not 10 things, 1 thing. Third, choose your quality. How do you want to show up in your interactions? Maybe it's with more patience, maybe with more humor, maybe with more directness. This 3-part intention takes 60 seconds to set, but it acts like a lighthouse keeping you oriented when the fog of the day starts rolling in. And here's a bonus practice he swears by: the mountain stream ritual. Close your eyes for 30 seconds and visualize crystal clear water from a mountain stream flowing through your mind, washing away mental noise, leaving behind only clarity and calm. Sounds simple, maybe even silly, but try it once and feel the immediate reset. When your internal state shifts, something almost magical happens. Strategies and solutions that were completely invisible suddenly appear right in front of you. It's not that the answers weren't there before. They absolutely were. But your frequency was tuned to a channel that couldn't receive them. Think about trying to listen to FM 98.5 when your radio is stuck on AM 1020. The signal is broadcasting perfectly, but you're just not on the right wavelength to hear it. Intentional direction isn't about forcing outcomes or white-knuckling your way through manifestation exercises. It's about getting so clear on your desired frequency that your brain's reticular activating system, that built-in filter we talked about earlier, starts highlighting paths, people, and possibilities that align with where you've consciously chosen to vibrate. The universe isn't changing, your reception is changing, and suddenly doors you didn't even know existed start opening like they've been waiting for you all along. So here's the real question. What are you going to do with all of this? Because knowledge without action is just entertainment. And if you walked away from this video feeling inspired but changed nothing, then we both wasted our time. You now understand that you're a transmitter, that your attention shapes your reality, that emotional hygiene isn't optional, that your body is screaming signals you've been ignoring, that your relationships are either lifting you or drowning you, and that intentional direction is the difference between drifting and designing your life. But understanding isn't enough. You've got to practice this stuff, even imperfectly, even when it feels awkward at first. Start with just one thing today. Maybe it's that 90-second body protocol. Maybe it's setting your morning intention. Maybe it's finally having that boundary conversation you've been avoiding. What's the one shift you can make in the next 24 hours that would prove to yourself that you're serious about changing your frequency? And let me ask you something else. How long are you willing to stay stuck at the frequency you're currently on? Another month? Another year? Another decade of wondering why life feels harder for you than it seems for everyone else? You've got the tools now. The transmitter analogy, the attention spotlight, the hygiene routine, the body as antenna awareness, the relationship audit, the intentional direction protocol. These aren't theories. They're tested, proven practices that work if you work them. But they only work if you stop waiting for permission, stop waiting for the right time, and stop waiting for life to get easier before you start showing up differently. The frequency shift happens the moment you decide it does, not someday when conditions are perfect. If this resonated with you, if something clicked, if you felt that, oh damn, this is what's been missing moment, then do yourself a favor. Subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell because we're just getting started. There's so much more to unpack about frequency, energy, and how to architect a life that actually feels good from the inside out. Don't just consume this and move on. Let it change how you move through tomorrow. Your life is waiting for you to broadcast at the frequency it's trying to match. Are you ready to turn the dial?